Dougal? Is that you? Dougal, you looking at Dougal? Dougal, where's Benjamin? Where's Benjamin? No? Okay, right. Here we go. No growls that time, so basically Benjamin basically back in favour in Australia. Anyway, a couple of things on I was going to discuss today. One of them being cancel culture. One of them being the new Low by Workshop Evans, and also the Manson girls. So first, cancel culture. Last video I put up, I'm not going to it all again, but anyway, if you've seen it, you know what it's about. But basically, I had a couple of naughty comments on the video. One of them that said that the 30 minutes was the whole thing was a homophobic rant, and as the video went for 30 minutes, wow, what a rant that must have been. And then I got somebody else a few days later put up the dog whistle stereotyping in this rant is precisely what fuels and legitimizes hate crime resulting in violence. I used to admire your content, but not now. For me, it's barstool bigotry, nothing else disappointing. Now, okay, just a couple of comments there. However, this can be dangerous. This sort of feeds into cancel culture. I know cancel culture really results in when somebody says something that you get thousands of people react or don't like what somebody said. Pretty soon that person can find themselves not having any social media at all, as they're all taken down all over the shop, and they can find out that their livelihood is in question, that nobody may buys the books or watches the films or goes to their stage shows or whatever, and cancel cultures can be very dangerous. In YouTube, you don't need a lot of people to turn on you. You only need a very few, and you are cancelled. You're gone. You are absolute history. I'll just refer, for those who don't know what I'm talking about here. What was the last video that I did? I was talking about, the rant was actually about how unfair it was that if there was a woman married to a man who all of a sudden came out and admitted to her that he'd engaged in homosexual acts, that she wouldn't be able to get a divorce, a script divorce, because back before 83 the elders believed that you could only commit adultery with a member of the opposite sex. And I was obviously, the man would have to admit to the woman exactly what he did, and then he'd have to admit it to the elders. So of course, as we know, the elders want to know all the ins and the outs, the ifs, the buts, and the hows and the whys, and all the comings and all the goings. Who, where, when, how, what position, that sort of thing. So they'd have to clarify, has there some sort of sexual act being performed? Was it just a case of holding hands or having a snog? Or has something more happened? And this is what I was trying to, without actually saying the words, well, I'll say them now. I was trying to sort of change the wording. Not that I don't want to sound offensive, but I don't particularly like, well, I'll say it anyway. Though, you know, obviously she'd have to, the man would have to admit to the woman, and then the woman would have to go to the elders, and the elders would have to go to him, and all along they'd have to use terminology such as anal penetration, anal intercourse, and of course oral sex. Now, when I did my video, I decided to use the terminology brown love, or going on to pastures, browner, or turning to the brown side of the force. But apparently, using those phrases would, according to JJ, would fuel and legitimise hate crime resulting in violence. In other words, they're saying, because I use the code word brown, that somebody out there who is homophobic would watch my video and say, right, I'm going to go on the street now and find the nearest gay man I can and just absolutely beat the living crap out of him because of my video, which is quite a serious accusation. At the end of the day is, you know, it's bizarre. So if I'd actually use the correct terminology and use anal intercourse and anal penetration, that would have been all right. The homophobe watching my video would go, well, that's fine with me, because he never used the code word brown. And when I go outside and I meet a gay man, I may just say, any chance you could go for a drink and let's talk about the, what's going on in Britain with the the rising of the interest rates and the heating bills or whatever. Thank God that that person, when he did the video, never used code word brown, because obviously that's what's going to legitimise hate crime resulting in violence. What I don't quite understand is because if anybody bothered, well, obviously a lot of people did, if these two people in particular bothered to watch the video carefully, they'll actually see that, guess what? My rant was at the fact that the Jehovah's Witnesses take their strong stance on, as I've said before, I've done another video before, if you come out as a practicing gay man within a Jehovah's Witness, you're out. You are out of there. And the reason why they do this, and similar to many of the religions, is based clearly on what the Bible repeatedly says. And for some reason, by me actually saying, it's not me saying this, it's the Bible says this. The God of the Bible is a homophobe, and the Bible's full of homophobic rants, and you would have been stoned to death. So I'm not advocating here that that gay men need to be stoned to death, but I'm just telling you what the Bible says. Obviously, people don't like the truth, think, oh no, our loving God wouldn't be like that. Well, I'm afraid he did. So this isn't, I'm not, condoning it, or I don't want it being enforced. I'm not I don't want to fuel it. I'm just saying this is the case. This is why the Jehovah's Witnesses and other religions do not like homosexuals, because they read in the Bible that God hates homosexuals. So sorry, it's not my words. Don't shoot the messenger here, God's sake. And I did say within the video that I said things like it's quite normal now. It's quite normal to have a couple of lesbian girls move in as neighbours who've got maybe a couple of adopted kids, or a couple of gay men who've got adopted kids. I said it's quite normal. And I even said a couple of times, I don't care what your preference for sex is at all, as long as and it's with somebody who is okay with it, and it's not illegal. And I said it's more important what sort of person you are than what you do in your bedroom with your knob and your buttocks. That's what I was trying to say, but unfortunately that's clearly got construed to being, this guy's a homophobe. I'd just like to at this point, just to confirm I'm not a homophobe, and for those out there say I want gay men to be bashed up all over the world. Let's make this quite straight. Straight, that was a pun. If I was a homophobe, when it was put to me that we should have a gay person joining the band, I would have said, no, I don't want anybody who's a sexual deviant who sleeps only with other women. I don't want her in the band, because I know that she'll have a lot of other lesbian friends and homosexual men friends. But as it is, I wanted Michelle to join the band, and I did some of my best work on her songs. And I allowed her to sing my songs because she is a far better singer than I was. And yes, so there we go. If I was a homophobe, she wouldn't have been in the band. And certainly when we started to play live, which got ended due to COVID, unfortunately, and it's never recovered since for us because everybody's gone their own separate ways. Certainly, when we were performing live and she says, I'm going to bring all my friends, I would have put my foot down and says, don't be bringing any of your gay friends. I would have said, no chance, I don't want them come to see us, just turn into a big gay fest. As it is, I was absolutely overjoyed when Michelle brought her lesbian and homosexual men friends, because they made the most noise, there was loads of them, they danced, they screamed, they applauded, they really got into the band. And I wouldn't have gone down to see the ABBA Voyage in May, because for anybody who's been down to there, it is a flamboyant experience full of gay people, a lot of homosexual men, because ABBA have a big, massive gay following. And if it wasn't for them singing and dancing and dressing flamboyantly, and next to me, in front of me, well, not behind me because there's a wall behind me, but if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't have been the night it would have been. They absolutely made the night. All these guys, and they were coming out singing and holding hands and kissing. Didn't bother me at all. Yes, there were a hell of a lot of dancing queens to sing along to Dancing Queen, and it absolutely made the night. And you know, finally, if I was a homophobe, I wouldn't have employed 3 gay people. My last job where I actually had to interview people and then they'd become starting my team. One of them I didn't even know was gay until he left, actually. And there were two, they clearly were very, very camp, and it was obvious that they were gay men. But again, it doesn't concern me. You know how gay you are, it's more important what sort of person you are, and in that case is could they do the job, and I thought they could do, and I'm still Facebook friends with 2 of them. So I hate to then quash those homophobic rumours, but apparently I think one of these 2 people would actually watch this video and say, he's at it again. Oh my God, you just can't win. Now, the reason why I think this is really important is because of this thing of cancel culture. Because as you know, if all of a sudden you get lots of people don't like you, you can end up being destroyed. Absolutely, your career can be ruined. Now, in the case of J.K. Rowling, there was recently, this year I think there was, that it must have been this year, because obviously it wasn't last year, because it's COVID, but this year they had a big get-together, all the cast and crews celebrating the 10-year anniversary, maybe the 20-year anniversary of the first Harry Potter film. Guess who the only person who wasn't there? J.K. Rowling. Apparently her invitation had been cancelled. She's sort of been cancelled out of her own creation. And the 3 guys, the 3 people, the 3 main little actors who came all through the films, and now everybody knows who they are worldwide because of the Harry Potter franchise. They were going along and says, yes, we agree that we don't agree with J.K. Rowling's stance on trans people. We believe she's a transphobe. Because J.K. Rowling wants to defend the rights of women, she's been absolutely destroyed online as a transphobe, and it goes on every day. I think she must spend every day putting up stuff trying to defend her stance and the fact that she's trying to stick up for women's rights. And another guy as well, at least J.K. Rowling could just sit back and watch all the money come in and write more books, but a guy who's really struggled since coming out in the defence of women's rights and saying that men should not be allowed to go into women's toilets, women's changing rooms, women's prisons, and generally in women's areas altogether, is the guy who wrote Father Ted. I can't remember his name now, but he got his Twitter account suspended because of allegedly the tweets he was putting was going down as some sort of hate speech, even though he was trying to defend women's rights. And as a result, he's found it a struggle to get work. And I think he tried to put on a Father Ted show, and I believe a stage show, I think that got cancelled. And this is a problem. This is a problem, boys and girls. Now, you out there saying, well, it's not going to affect you because you've only got like 2,500 people watching who are subscribers. The problem is, if you're unaware of this, if you have a YouTube channel, all you need is 3 YouTube videos. You may have 1,000 videos up. If you get 3 taken down because somebody's gone in and complained, says, oh, this guy is a clear homophobe, and this guy's legitimising hate crime and resulting in violence, they go on. And I don't even know whether they even bother watching the videos. All you need is like 3 people to complain on 3 different videos for YouTube to take those down, and you are history. You could have maybe 1,000 videos up, but those 3, if they fall foul of certain people who put in the complaint and YouTube don't bother to actually look at the material, you can find yourself that you are completely and utterly cancelled. So yeah, this is the problem with cancel culture. All you need is especially YouTube, you just need a few people to complain about you, and you are history. Now, you may say, well, actually, this is not going to affect me because I don't do YouTube videos. I only do Twitter, and I comment on other people's videos, but I don't put up any new content or whatever. This affects you too. Now, I'll just explain how this affects you. This affects you because if Lloyd Evans had admitted to Kim Silvio that over a 4-year period, every couple of months, he was paying male prostitutes to have sex with him, and him have sex with them, and then go over to Thailand to procure the services of a younger looking man, maybe 20ish looking, and also dated a man over there, a young man, and then got his photo taken with a young man in a seedy bar, then leaked by a female, names not mentioned, and then had to do a live stream admitting that, blaming the fact of the Jehovah's Witnesses, the fact that Lloyd Evans admits he's gay, and the reason why he's been having to pay for sex with men is because he didn't have the freedom to do what he's always wanted to do because of the restrictions placed upon him by the Jehovah's Witness upbringing, because they don't like Jehovah's Witnesses, and obviously by being married, which is a problem for a gay man, unless you're married to a gay man, obviously. And blaming everybody apart from himself, and of course Kim Selyo, let's not forget, because she's to blame for everything, you know, bizarrely. The Pompeii eruption, Vesuvius, Kim Selyo. And therefore, what would then happen, once he do that live stream, and then say, yes, you know, I admit it, everybody then would go back and go, hold on a second, where did he get the money to go to Thailand? Thailand, a place known for not just sexual abuse against girls, but also sex trafficked young boys. That's where a lot of men who want to have sex with young men go over to Thailand, because they can get literally boys over there who are sex trafficked and clearly are victims of CSA. So the fallout would be just as massive as it was at the beginning of the year. People going about him being a hypocrite, saying that he couldn't be an advocate against the cover-up of child sex abuse within Jehovah's Witnesses because he'd used young men who potentially were victims of CSA and might have been sex trafficked in a country known for it. I go on and on and on, Patron funding, blah blah blah, being a hypocrite, blah 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 blah, not saying sorry, no, yada yada yada. And we would go on, but then, boys and girls, I can kid you not, what would then happen is, and this is quite simply a fact, and I think if you're watching this you'll go, actually this is true. I at this point would not have a YouTube channel. It would already have gone down like little Lloyd in Thailand. It would be out of here. I would be cancelled. My Twitter account would be cancelled, but not just me, but everybody else who's either commented or put something on Twitter or had the audacity to put their opinion on the whole Lloyd Evans saga. It's known as Lloydgate, but at that time it might have been just changed to Browngate. I don't know. By the way, that's not code word to go and beat somebody up. It might have been changed to Browngate. And anybody commenting or tweeting about Browngate would fall foul of legitimising hate crime resulting in violence, or fueling, don't put in fueling as well, because what would then be we'd be accused of is the fact that everything that we would go on to say about Lloyd Evans would constitute a rant against him and other gay men purely on the basis of him being gay and coming out as gay. That's what would happen. Lloyd Evans himself would go around complaining to everybody out there that I want this taken down, I want this taken down. He wouldn't even bother. He wouldn't have to need to go and use these useless lawyers who I think have told him to, you know, F off. You know, you useless twat, go and get a job. He wouldn't even need to go down that road. He wouldn't need to block anybody on Twitter, because social media and the Lloydites complaining and everybody else who really finds it offensive when you talk about brown stuff would destroy you. He would go on to Twitter, this person is only saying this about me because I've realised I'm gay, and this just is clearly homophobic. It's a homophobic rant. Every one of my videos referencing him, and everybody else who put their tuppenny pence worth in, everybody put something on Twitter in relation to what he did and who he did it with and when he did it, would all get labelled under homophobia, and literally we would be cancelled. All of us would be gone. There wouldn't be any, you know, Jake, Wally, me, the vast apostate army, Kim Selyo especially, gone. Because what we were saying, instead of saying actually no, this has got absolutely nothing to do with the sex of the people that he paid money to have sex with. It's got nothing. We'd be just as offended if it was with a woman, and he'd turn around and say, no it wouldn't, it's just because I turned out gay, you're all homophobic, and we would be gone. So that's how dangerous cancel culture is. So in other words, anybody watching this video saying it doesn't affect me, that's how it is. Just imagine if Lloyd turned out gay. We'd all be gone. I wouldn't be talking here today. I would just go, well fuck that for a game of fives. I'll just concentrate my music instead. I probably should have done that anyway. So there we are with that. So I'll leave that, you know, it just shows little comments like that can have a profound effect and can be really destructive. Thank God that he never came out and said he was gay, because, you know, we would have all been done a long time ago. All closed down. Oh dear. The Lloyd Evans parody account would, you know, that would lasted like 2 tweets. So anyway, moving on. Last night, I believe that all of a sudden our work-shy friend reached a new lower than he's been ever before. He's now down to 441 patrons on Patreon. 441. Now this is a startling figure when you think that he said a few months ago that he was congratulating an old patting his old back. Oh, my back's a bit done in because I was doing some work. You say, oh my God. A pat on his old back because he was saying how well his channel was doing, and that he can see a turnaround and everything's going back to what it used to be. It's sorry mate, it's still signing down, and there's not been an increase on your patrons. Maybe you're just clearly by YouTube subscribers. All of a sudden 1,000. Clearly people have realised he's been buying YouTube subscribers to show that he's doing very, very well. But as we know, he isn't, because he has to borrow money for his daughter to get a haircut. But still is socialising in Zagreb, you know, doing his karaoke and that. And maybe he's saying, maybe ask people to buy him rounds. I don't know. Maybe it comes to it's your round, Lloyd. They go, Lloyd, has anybody seen Lloyd? It's his round. Lloyd, I think that maybe what he does, I think maybe when he goes in, he meets all these people. I reckon he goes in first, so he has his own drink. So it looks like he's there, and next thing is, everybody comes and says, Lloyd's got his own drink, and he says, I'm just going to get round in. What are you drinking, Lloyd? And it goes on and on and on, because everybody else that comes in afterwards believe that he got in the first round. Because he bought himself a drink and got there early. So eventually when it comes round to is his round again, I think that's when he cancels himself out of the social events. I just go to the toilet, and next thing is his coat's gone. Oh dear. It's just a thought. So yeah, so the guy's really struggling. But bizarrely, as we know, that Lloyd Evans has some Manson girls, and one of them is somebody called Kitty Cat, who also goes at Honours Jane on Twitter, and she used to put a whole load of stuff on my videos about him. Oh, you know, it's his own private business, and then, you know, he's better than you, and his content's but it's still going on, because bizarrely. And what an endorsement this is. She put up 10 hours ago, oh this is funny, Wally-JW Thoughts, The Truth Hurts, and Barone Pickett's, because she's people are saying you just like Lloyd Evans stuff, and she's basically saying actually I quite like Wally, The Truth Hurts, and Barone Pickett's, and a few others where they are really good. So obviously that depends whether she thinks that they're really good. The most useless one, the most disgusting truck driver behaviour is, it's me, it's Jehovah's Witnesses Beliefs Discussed. He's a swine with a little picture of a pig, oink, oink, oink. His channel is useless. So thank you very much for that wonderful endorsement. There you go, his channel is absolutely useless. Truck driver behaviour, so clearly that Manson girl is not happy with me at all. And the problem with her as well, she still says in relation to defending her Lloyd and master, and this is 11 hours ago, so it's now an hour before that, she says he, as in talking about Workshop Evans, he's got the best channel. He has the best material. He explains it clearly and concisely. He can back up everything that he says. He debunks everything that the Watchtower says, etc, 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 which none of the other channels can do like he can. A little bit odd, because all of a sudden, you know, the tweet where she's slagging me off, an hour later, she's basically saying, oh, Wally, J.W. Thor's, the Truth Hurts, Burrow and Pickett's, they are really good, but apparently they can't be really good because it's only her Lloyd and Master does it like he does. You know, he's the only person who, let's just read it again, he says, which none of the other channels can do like he can. A bit bizarre. That's like sort of giving one on one hand, giving a compliment on one hand, but then taking it away from the other hand. A little bit odd that. Some would call that hypocritical, but that's just my opinion. And ending on cancel culture, going back to Kitty Cat, going back to her, my biggest fan. Ooh. A sign photo in the post to her. It actually says here, which is really worrying. But she says, and actually she tweets to 4 other people. It says, it goes without saying, and it goes with anybody and any channel, that if I'm disrespected in any way, then that channel and person is history. Simple. So I'll just read this again. 11 hours ago from Kitty Cat. It goes without saying, and it goes with anybody and any channel, that if I'm disrespected in any way, then that channel and person's history. Simple. Now that is hypocritical, because she's come onto my channel on my videos many times and disrespected me. So basically, yeah, I'm sorry, that's being hypocritical. It's a shame, but I'm not so petty as to want to get her a Twitter account. She doesn't have a YouTube video account like a lot of these people. They're all keyboard warriors, but when actually putting their face in front of the camera and telling it as it is, not so brave, not so brave. So anyway, Kitty Cat, yeah, so that's what I'm on about, referring to cancel culture. You get people like this will then go on and complain to the people who run social media and say, oh, this person disrespecting me, blah blah blah, or this person damaged me, or whatever it is, and all the things that Lloyd tried to do in saying this person defamed me in this video, this sort of things. They are just trying to get people cancelled, and that's how dangerous cancel culture is in the world that we live in today. Anyway, that's it. It's a lovely sunny day out there. I'm going to take Dougal for a walk, and guess what? I'm going to come back, have a coffee, and do some more painting. But yes, I've got to paint again from the other day. You always need to do second coats. But wife said, is that it? Told him, go, no, you always need to do a second coat. So that's what I'll be doing. And at 2 o'clock I'll be watching United and City. United and City at 2 o'clock. And if it's a little bit rubbish, I'm going to head to our local community hall because they're having a folk get together. And sadly, although I can play the guitar, I can't play the fiddle. And even if they said, right, okay, it's A, it's in the key of C, I'd go, what's C? I haven't a clue. So all I can do is take around my tambourine and just sort of, you know, say, yeah, I'm trying to get into that anyway. But I'll probably do that afterwards, after I've had a couple of cans watching United. And that's it. I'm going to end on this. As you know, that I do like my music, and this morning I was extremely tired and I decided to wake myself up with a bit of punk, a bit of Babylon's Burning by The Ruts, and also Public Image by Public Image. And actually I just remembered, I actually saw Public Image, and I actually saw the Sex Pistols in live as well. So I'm not just a person who's into melodic folk music. I do quite like my punk. I do quite like my punk from time to time. There's a time and a place for punk. And Joy Division came out of punk, actually. If you listen to their early songs, they're very punkish. Thank God they actually moved on a bit. I just want to, I'm going to put a link in the description for a song that I've just discovered. There was a guy in Fairport Convention. He lasted about 5 albums. His name was, I said 4 on Facebook, it's actually 5. His name is Richard Thompson, and subsequently he went and did a lot of solo work with his wife called Linda Thompson until, and it's a particularly famous story, his wife found out that he was having an affair while she was pregnant while they were on tour. Oh dear, what a guy. Anyway, so basically, I thought I caught up with all the great songs Richard Thompson has written, and somehow I've missed out on what people call his best song ever, called Dimming of the Day, which has been covered by Bonnie Raitt, loads of other people, and even Pink Floyd's David Gilmour. He does it in his when he does live shows. He always does Dimming of the Day, and there's one point Richard Thompson joins him on stage. And I'm going to put a link to a particular video of Richard and Linda Thompson singing it. It's really easy. It's like a banjo and one of those things that you do that with. No, I don't know what it's called. It's not an accordion. It's a smaller version. Sort of. Anyway, you know what I mean. You'll see it. And it is. Wow, what a song! Especially when you think that when Linda Thompson sung this, her marriage was already crumbling, and I believe that probably the song was written about the woman that he was having the affair with, and she had to sing it on tour and in this particular studio setting. So wow, what a song, but it is so beautiful. And I quickly learned how to play it, because the beauty about Richard Thompson is he's a fantastic guitarist, but he builds the songs on really basic chords. Luckily I've got the same sort of keys in. We're both pretty not the best singers. He's clearly better than me. So I've also last night did a version of it. I do a version for it right now for you boys and girls, but the problem is, if anybody knows, in the morning is not a good time to sing because you can't sing. I'd sound like Leonard Cohen. So I said I'll put also a link of me singing it last night at 10 when I've been lubricated a bit. Anyway, it's there for you. Enjoy your day, and I must go now because I've got my son ringing me from Australia. So see you later, and bye bye. Hello? Hello?